Hey everybody, Sharon here from GimmeX.com. Here we are today back in the Halo Infinite campaign, going for the first type of open world collectible in the form of the Mjolnir Master Achievement. This is to pick up all of the Spartan Cores. You can grab your first one as soon as you start the open world segment during the third story mission, which is going to be Outpost Tremonius. Right after you get off of the elevator, make sure you grab it right here. It's going to be this glowing box, hard to miss. All you do is hold the X button in order to open up the box. You're going to pull out the Spartan Core from it, and after your first one, you should be good for the Hidden Experience achievement for 10 gamer score. Make your way outside, and then you should be in the actual outpost. What you want to do is you want to make sure you look behind the hangar that you just came out of. Of course, you can do this during the story mission, but you can also get this done at any time once you get access to fast travel and have access to the entire map. But you are going to head behind the hangar, and then right here should be this drop pod, and then underneath it is going to be your next Spartan Core, so make sure you grab that out of the box. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure you turn around, and again, you can do this during the actual mission. There are just going to be enemies around, so be a little careful, but make your way forward, and you're going to go straight. You're going to notice the landing zone directly in front of you in the background. You have this building right here that you are going to make your way over, and then in between these two is going to be the main open area right here. You want to make sure you head over to this building right below the landing zone. So it's going to be this one right here, and then turn to your left, and then this building is going to have the Spartan Core right outside of this door. So make sure you grab it right here, and then that should take care of the first three in the starting area of the open world segment of the game. We are going to continue on. You're going to take the Pelican across to the first island, and then we're going to grab this Spartan Core. It's going to be directly underneath the tower, so make sure you grab this on your way there, or of course you can come back later for it if you must. So make sure you pull this one out of its box, and then immediately to the west of it is going to be this one right here. It's going to be towards the edge of the map. You're going to have this little cliff face right here, and then you should notice a downed Pelican right over here, and in this wreckage is going to be your next box, and of course inside said box is going to be another Spartan Core to pull out. Now, before tackling the tower, we're going to head south and then capture the first outpost in the form of the Ransom Keep. Once you have it captured from the fast travel point, which is going to be this cliffside in front of the front gate, we're going to drop down. You want to make sure you wrap around the left side of the outpost, so make sure you just follow the wall, and then this is eventually going to take you to this bit right here. Make sure you head through the gap in the wall right here to get into the actual outpost. You should be in the back left corner. Make sure you clamber over this set of walls, and you are going to cross this bridge over to this back part of the outpost, and then underneath this vehicle rack is going to be your next box with another Spartan Core inside. Moving over to the eastern edge of the map, you're going to have this one right here. You want to make sure you follow this small hill up until you get to this stack of hexagons above this little banished camp, and then you can head over here, and then once you notice that column, make sure you look over here for all of this abandoned equipment, and then you can find your Spartan Core resting here right next to the edge of the island, so make sure you pick that one up. Make sure you head over to the canyon in the southern half of the first island. You want to enter from the north side. Make sure you follow the ridge along, and then eventually you should be able to notice some spots where you can drop down. You want to make sure you drop down onto the hexagon bits, and then you should notice this camp right here, right as the canyon is starting to open up, and then on this set of hexagons is going to be your Spartan Core. So make sure you drop into the camp, and then make sure you pull this one out of its box. Going back up north to continue on with the story, you're going to head over to the tower as part of the fourth story mission. You're going to clear it out and then turn the gravel lift back on. To the right of the gravel lift is going to be this small building right here. Look inside, and then make sure you head around to this part of the small building, and then inside here is going to be the Spartan Core, so make sure you pick that one up. There is going to be one inside the tower as well, so you can grab this during the actual story mission, or you can come back here as the gravel lift is always going to be on after you clear the mission. So make sure you hop into to the gravel lift and you're going to take this up into the inside of the tower. You're going to want to climb up a few levels, and then you should grab it. You can, of course, detect where the Spartan Core chests are by using your tactical viewer, so make sure you just keep popping those up if you are having trouble, but I'm going to walk you through this in case you do get lost. So from where you would grab the armor upgrade, you want to make sure you hang a right, and then you're going to take the staircase up, and then this is going to keep wrapping around until you get to this higher level. From here, make sure you hang a left and then follow this way. And then this is the normal way that you would take to get up the tower anyways. So just keep trucking forward. And then once you get to this bit right here, you're going to find your next staircase that takes you further up the tower. So make sure you take that. And of course, it is going to be better to come here later as there are no enemies once you clear out the tower. And then once you get to this level, you are going to find the Spartan Core off to your right. So make sure you just follow this around, and then you should notice it in this little alcove right here. So make sure you grab this one, and then we should be done with this part. We actually have one more to go on the first island. So before you cross that bridge, make sure you head over here to the upper right. And then on the edge right here is going to be your next Spartan Core. You're going to notice that monument in the back. So just make sure you use that as a little reference, and then climb up to this bit. Look behind this hexagon, and then right here is going to be another camp. And right next to this sleeping bag is going to be your next Spartan Core. That should wrap up the first island. Get everything that you need to do at the tower to extend the bridge to get back to the second island. Once you are here, we have an outpost right next to the bottom, which is going to be the Redoubt of Suffering. Once you clear it, make sure you head in to said outpost, and then once you are inside, we're going to take the main path straight to the back. Once you are here, you're going to notice the Spartan Core right over here behind these storage containers. So make sure you grab that one. And then after that one, we're going to have another one all the way up here. This one is going to be due north of that outpost. You should see this little bombed out hill. And then at the top of this is going to be an enemy drop pod. And then inside is going to be your next Spartan Core. So make sure you grab that within all of the rubble. You're going to have to duck down to get inside, so make sure you do so. And that's going to be one more to the collection. We're going to head to the southwestern part of the island, and then over here you should see the ruins of what would be a beacon. Make sure you head on through the open door, and then inside here is going to be your Spartan Core all the way in the back, so make sure you grab that in all of its glorious blue lights, and then we can move on. In the center of this island is going to be another outpost in the form of the Forge of Tish. From the fast travel point, which is going to be this big road leading up to the entrance of the outpost, you can grapple hook up here onto the cliff and then over the wall. It's going to be way faster than walking up to the front door. You're going to have the main hangar right here as a reference. Make sure you head on inside. And of course, the doors are more likely than not going to be locked. So just keep wrapping around until you find the entrance. It's going to be right over here, over by where the crane is. So once you find the entrance, make sure you head on inside. And of course, this is after clearing it out, so we don't have to deal with any enemies. But of course, you can get this on your first go around as you're trying to clear the outpost. But once you get inside, make sure you climb up to the higher level. And then at the top of this staircase is going to be your next Spartan Core right here in this corner. Moving on to this one. This one's going to seemingly be in the middle of nowhere. You're going to climb up this hill, and eventually you're going to get to this little enemy encampment right here. This one is going to be a little involved, so try your best to pay attention to its exact location. It's going to be up in that building on that hill. However, to get there, what you need to do is you need to make sure you head into this lower building. Once you are in here, you're going to head on through. There's going to be a hole in the floor. Make sure you drop through that, and this is going to take you underground. Make sure you navigate through here. There are more likely than not are going to be some enemies in here, so make sure you take care of them if you can, and then just keep proceeding through. This is going to be an underground part. This is going to be the enemy encampment that has a bunch of rocket turrets, so make sure you take care of them. There is going to be one underground that you need to take care of, but once you do, make sure you look behind it, and there's going to be this set of wires that you can follow, and then you can follow these into this cave right here. and then make sure you keep following this through, and it's going to take you higher up into the cliffside. And then this is eventually going to spit you out into that higher building that you are trying to get through using this gravel lift right here. So a little convoluted to get to this actual building, but it is going to be locked on the outside otherwise. Once you do finally manage to navigate here, clear this room of enemies, and then the Spartan Core is going to be located in this corner right here. And of course, thankfully, you can unlock the door to have an easier way out, and then you can continue on to the next one. This one's going to be another outpost in the form of the Armory of Reckoning. This is going to be the main road that splits the outpost into two. You want to make sure you head in to the bigger half of the outpost, which is going to be right here. And then once you are here, make sure you follow the main road down, and then eventually you're going to get to this dip right here. Once you get to this dip, what you want to do is make sure you hang a sharp left, and this is going to be the little underground area that you would take to normally clear the objective of this outpost. So make sure you head on in here, and then just keep following the underground path, and then eventually it's going to take you to this T-shaped intersection. Hang a right, and then in this corner is going to be your Spartan Core. Once we take care of this one, we're going to continue west and then head to the edge of the map right here. This is going to be near where the foundation marker is on your map. So once you are here, you're going to notice another encampment right here hugging the edge of the map. And then in this rubble is going to be your next Spartan Core chest. So make sure you pop this one open and grab another core. Then it's going to be up here to the upper right of the island. This is going to be this area due south of Outpost Tremonius. So once you are here, you're going to navigate up this set of hills, and then you should notice a cave right here, glowing a nice green mist. Head on inside, and then this is going to take you into this cavern. Make sure you turn on your flashlight so you can have an easier time of finding your way. But once you drop down here, you're going to want to look right. There's going to be this Forerunner doorway, and in here is going to be your Spartan Core. After grabbing that one, we're going to continue circling through the second island, heading down the eastern coast. This one's going to be another mildly complicated one. You want to make sure you are on this hillside facing this ruined beacon, and you want to be on this side next to this little hangar right here. Make sure you go straight from the right of the hangar. This is going to take you to the entrance of that beacon. Again, it's going to be a little complicated if you just use your map, but you're going to keep heading straight until you get to the edge right here. You should see the spine of the map in the distance, and you should be able to dip down here towards the edge of the map. There is going to be a doorway right here. You are going to need to take this doorway to get underneath the beacon and then head inside. Make sure you head through here. There are going to be a ton of enemies in here, so do be careful. And then eventually this is going to take you to this bigger open area. And then once you are here, you're going to want to either clear the enemies, or you could be super lazy and just take a sharp left. And then the Spartan Core is going to be in this last big open room right here on this elevated platform. So make sure you grab that and make your grand escape, or finish killing off the enemies, whatever you do choose to do so. As long as you get the Spartan Core, you should be good for the count for the achievement. On to the next outpost, which is going to be the Horn of Abolition. This one's going to be the easternmost outpost on the second island. From the entrance, what you want to do is you want to head inside. Make sure you take the main road down going right, and then you should be in this area with a bunch of destroyed buildings. Look for this overturned building, and you're going to notice the door is jammed, and you can't fit through, unfortunately, because Master Chief is going to be too fat. So you are going to have to take the roof in. So just grapple hook up and then drop down from the top, and then make sure you grab the Spartan Core right over here. And with that, we're going to finally get back to the story, or where the story wants us to go, which is going to be the excavation site. This one's going to be located on this hillside facing the drill. So the drill is going to be pointed in this direction right here as a reference. You're going to have to go here as part of this story mission. But instead of heading into the site, you want to be on this cliffside, and you're going to notice this Spartan Core right over here. So make sure you pick this one up before you take a dip down to deal with all of the dangers inside. Now, there is going to be a Spartan Core in the actual excavation site, so make sure you drop down. If it's your first time here, the enemies aren't going to spawn until you actually interact with the entrance to the cave, so make sure you don't touch that. If you are coming back during the open world segment, there's going to be a mild amount of enemies, so make sure you do keep that in mind. But your goal is to head to this building right here. It's going to be to the left of the entrance of the cave. Head on inside, and you're going to notice there's going to be a catwalk up top. Make sure you grapple hook up top, and then make sure you grab it right here in the corner, and then we can move on. The main story is going to task you with heading to this next structure down here in the bottom right of the second island called the Spire. Before we do any of that nonsense, we are going to head right here. You should notice this set of ruined vehicles. And among all of that chaos, right next to this ruined pelican is going to be your Spartan Core hanging out right here. So make sure you pick that up, which is going to leave us with one more on the second island. It is going to be at the southernmost tip in this gap connecting the 4 islands. You're going to have the gun battery of the third island to your left as a reference. There's the waterfall with the Forerunner ring of the fourth island directly in front of you as a reference. Keep dropping straight down, and eventually you're going to hit this part right here. Keep using your tactical view, and then you should be able to navigate a path to drop down further, and just keep dropping down until you notice this little encampment right here with the sniper rifle. And then inside here is going to be a cave. Thankfully, you don't have to go inside, because at the entrance of the cave is going to be your Spartan Core. So make sure you grab it from this side, and then we should have an easy time. And that should wrap up the second island. Onto the third island. You're going to start out in the middle as part of the story mission Pelican Down. You're going to be in this big warship wreckage. You're going to want to turn and then climb this bit of wreckage right here. That's going to take you to this part of the warship. You want to make sure you climb up into the little trough between the main part and the wing. And then right over here is going to be your Spartan Core on this campsite. So make sure you pick this one up. After this one, we're going to head over to our first gun battery. We're going to start out with the easternmost gun battery, so make sure you head over here. There's the bottom of the gun battery for reference. We're climbing the hill to get into this area. Once you are here, you want to make sure you look for the cave where you turn the gravel lift on. Take a left from there, and that should dip down into this area. And then you're going to have another cave right here. And then inside this smaller cave is going to be your Spartan Core, so make sure you pick that one up. Then it's going to be up to the northernmost gun battery, which is the second gun battery. There it is for reference, and then underneath it, you want to make sure you head in this direction. And then you want to make sure you take the small hill up here. You're going to notice this big building in the background. Make sure you head over here, and the Spartan Core is going to be inside this building. So head on inside, and it's going to be a straight shot from the front door. Super duper easy. Make sure you pick that one up, and then on your way to the third and final gun battery, you want to make sure you take the more mountainous trail up here, and then in the mountains is going to be this Spartan Core right up here. So this is going to be the peak of the third island. Make sure you look for this cliffside, and then make sure you grapple hook up here. And then once you are here, you're going to have another little camp. And in this camp is going to be your Spartan Core hanging out right over here. Once you have it, you are going to have the go-ahead to head to the last gun battery. So make sure you do so. This one's going to be a little different. It's not quite at the gun battery. It's going to be at the base of the elevator that takes you up to the gun battery. So make sure you take a dip down here, and then make sure you get to the bottom of the base. And then once you are here, make sure you climb up to the base of the elevator, and it's going to be hanging out right here to your left. So elevator right there, Spartan Core right here, pick it up, and then we should be done with the third island. On to the fourth and final island. Of course, you're going to start in the bottom right and then work your way up. This one is going to be back on the mainland. You're going to look for this set of hexagons. Make sure you look underneath this overhang, and then this is going to take you to this little staircase right here. So make sure you staircase up, and then directly in the middle in this hole is going to be your Spartan Core right here. So just make sure you keep staircasing up and then grab it, and then we're good to move on. After grabbing this one, we're going to head north. This one is going to be the easternmost Spartan Core. There's going to be the eastern beacon as a reference. There's going to be the command spire as a reference. Make sure you head towards the command spire, and then next to this overturned warthog is going to be your Spartan Core. So make sure you grab that one, and then we're going to continue pushing north. This one's going to be in the upper right of the fourth island. Make sure you follow this trail. That's going to take you to the edge. You should notice this wreckage right here. And then in this wreckage is going to be your Spartan Core hanging out all by its lonesome. So make sure you grab it right next to this rock. After this one, we're going to move towards the middle of the island. You're going to have this giant cliff right here in the middle. Make sure you climb up this rock face. It helps having a flying vehicle for all these more mountainous climbs. This one's going to be on this ridge right here, so just look for the hexagons and look for all of the equipment, and then make sure you grab it among these boxes right over here. And then it's going to be further up the island. This one's going to be at the base of the spine of the map, so make sure you head over here. It's a pretty obvious area. Once you are here, this one's going to be at the entrance of the spine, so make sure you go to the first bracket and then look underneath it, and this one's going to be right here to your left. So make sure you pick this one up, and then it's going to be further onward from here to your next one. Now, in the middle of the fourth island, you're going to have this humongous enemy outpost in the form of Riven Gate. We're going to be showing this from the eastern entrance, and this is going to be after clearing it out. So once you enter the outpost from this entrance, make sure you head down the main road, and you're going to head about halfway down the road, and then you're going to start climbing this cliff face right here. If you have cleared the outpost already, this is going to be where you went to turn the power off for the outpost, so you're going to head in that direction if that sounds familiar. But basically your goal is going to be this specific building, and this is going to be the building with this entranceway that is going to wrap around to where you shut off the power by blowing up the little conduit thing in the middle right over here. So hopefully this all looks familiar, and of course you can do this while you are clearing out the outpost on your initial run, but the Spartan Core is going to be right next to that over here in this corner, so make sure you grab that. This one is going to be in the mountain range to the north. This one is going to be that hollowed out mountain. So make sure you head to the center, and there's going to be the little hole that you can drop in. And then once you drop into the hole, make sure you try to establish where you dropped in. Your goal is to look for the ruined Forerunner artifact. So look for the giant half ring that's buried. And then in that semicircle is going to be your Spartan Core. Of course, it helps to clear out the enemies before tackling it. And then once you do pick it up, feel free to fast travel out of here. Then we're going to move further up the mountain range. You're going to have this one, which is going to be in the upper left corner of the mountain. You're going to have this set of hexagons with another overhang. Make sure you head underneath that. And then once in here, you're going to have another little encampment. And then inside the encampment is going to be your Spartan Core right over here. So make sure you grab that. Next one up is going to be right here. This is going to be the northernmost beacon. There's the beacon for reference, very obvious. This one's going to be on the deck of the beacon, so just make sure you head behind there. So just take any one of the two staircases up, or you can just grapple hook over, it doesn't really matter. And we're going to wrap around the deck, and then the Spartan Core is going to be right here. And then we're going to pick this up and then move on. For this Spartan Core, you want to make sure you head up here to the upper left. This is where the bridge that connects the fourth and third island is going to be. You should have another bit of warship wreckage right here. Head on inside, and then inside here is going to be your Spartan Core right over here. So make sure you pick that one up, and then we can move on. For this Spartan Core, we are going to head to the southernmost beacon, and this one's not going to be on the deck, it's going to be underneath the staircase. So just make sure you head to the stairs and look underneath it, and then in the little shadow right here is going to be the backside, and then you're going to have the Spartan Core right over here. So make sure you pick that one up, and then it's going to be on to the next one. This one is going to be right here at the next humongous outpost in the form of the Annex Ridge. You want to make sure you start at the outskirts of the outpost, which is going to be this corner right here. You should notice the hexagons, very distinctive. There's going to be the elevator that takes you into the outpost right there for a reference. It's going to be in a building to the left once you actually get into the outpost. So you can either take the elevator up, or you can go grapple hooking. Whatever you decide to do, your goal is to head over to this red building right here, and then once you spot the red building, you want to be in the interior side of it, so make sure you get over the wall, and then outside the red building is going to be this little shack right here, and then inside the shack is going to be your Spartan Core. So make sure you grab that, and then it's going to be on to the next one, which is going to be to the north of that outpost. You're going to have this set of hexagons, another overhang. Head underneath, and you should be in this little cavernous area, but to your left should be this very obvious door. Head into the door, and then inside here is going to be your Spartan Core. It's going to be right here in this corner, so make sure you pick that one up, and then we can move on. Next one up is going to be at the westernmost beacon, so make sure you head over here. Here's going to be the front of the beacon for reference. This one's going to be to the right of it. So make sure you are outside, and then make sure you head between it and this lake. You should notice this little rock right here, and then right here is going to be the Spartan Core out in the open. Make sure you pick that up. That's going to leave us with one more left, which is going to be quite a walk up north. But make sure you head over to this mountain range right here, and then you're going to notice these hexagons, another overhang, and then you're going to take this dip underneath it, and then this is going to lead you into another little cave system, so make sure you follow suit. But this one's going to be right here on this ledge right here, so make sure you drop down and then catch yourself on this ledge, and then grab your 45th and final Spartan Core, and this should get you the achievement for picking every single one of them up. So again, you should have 45 in total. The achievement should pop here. There it is. It's going to be for 10 gamer score, and of course these Spartan Cores are actually going to be a useful collectible, as they are going to determine your armor upgrades. So if you happen to have all of the armor upgrades unlocked during the course of the game, you can start upgrading them. Make sure you start putting your upgrades into them. There's going to be 4 upgrades per ability. It's going to take 9 Spartan Cores per ability to fully upgrade them. 5 abilities, 9 Spartan Cores each, 45 total. Once you fully upgrade your Grappleshot, you should be good for the Reaching Out achievement for 10 gamer score. Then we're going to move down, and then we're going to put 9 more Spartan Cores in it to our shields. So just keep upgrading your shield core, and then once you have that maxed out, you should be good for this achievement called Getting Defensive for another 10 gamer score. Then from there, we're going to move on to our third ability, which is going to be our threat sensor. Make sure you keep popping upgrades in to these, and then 9 Spartan Cores to max this one out is going to give you the Big Brother achievement for 10 gamer score. And then after this one, we're going to have our fourth ability, which is going to be the drop wall. So 9 Spartan Cores here, and then that should max this one out, and another achievement should be ours once we have all of them. This one is going to be the Impervious achievement for another 10 gamer score, which is going to leave us with one ability left all the way at the bottom, which is going to be the thruster. So pop another 9 Spartan Cores here, which should exhaust all of our Spartan Cores. The game's going to give you enough Spartan Cores to get every single upgrade and no more. But once you do get that last upgrade in, you should be good for the last achievement we're going for this particular guide. There it is, thrusters on full, another 10 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.